Why, and we can go to Jerusalem now and speak to the Israeli government spokesperson, Avi Hyman. Avi Hyman, thank you very much for being with us on BBC News. So these aid workers were on an approved route. It was part of an operation that had been coordinated with the Israeli authorities. What went wrong?
And thank you very much for having me on. This was a tragic mistake, as my Prime Minister has said. And the people of Israel grieve with the families today. There's an ongoing investigation. Preliminary findings find that it was a mistake. I can't really add much more information, and I can't really confirm the details of the report that you just gave. What I will say is that these are the unsung heroes of war, the people that go out to give food to the people that need it at a time like this, when Hamas is actively stealing the food and making it so difficult for their own people in Gaza.
OK, so you've said it was a grave mistake, that you grieve with the families of those who died. Do you now apologise to those families?
The IDF chief of staff, the head of the IDF, was unequivocal with his apology. He said clearly that he was very, very sorry for what happened. We're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to do an independent, transparent investigation.
What do you mean independent? When you say independent, what does that mean?
That means there will be a third party involved to investigate it. I don't have the exact precise details of how that will work, but this is my understanding, and it will be transparent. And we hope that there'll be details of that in the coming days.
So we'll get that in a few days, will we? That result?
That is my understanding.
And in the meantime, the people who were responsible for this in the IDF, do they continue to serve? Are they still serving in Gaza?
I'm not an IDF spokesman. I wouldn't want to give you that information because I don't have it. But what I can tell you is the IDF goes out of its way to limit civilian casualties in a way that no other army has in the world. And that's why this situation has taken us by shock so much. And that's why we're grieving. And the people of Israel are with the families of those who passed.
Well, you say shock, but actually the UN Secretary General has said that 196 aid workers have been killed in this conflict. This is it not a pattern of behaviour? It's not a one-off, is it?
No, I will reject those numbers entirely. Those are numbers based on Hamas figures. And we know that if those numbers were true, they would include, for example, UN workers, like the UNRWA workers that actively participated in the October 7th massacre, that actively took Israeli hostages and held them in their homes. So I would reject those numbers. I can tell you that military experts from England and America have said that Israel has gone out of its way to get civilians out of harm's way and to do its utmost to go after Hamas. Our fight is with Hamas, not the people of Gaza. We will continue on our mission to destroy Hamas, to bring home the 134 hostages, men, women, children and babies, held against their will, a crime against humanity, and to ensure that Gaza doesn't become a threat to us ever again.
But you will know the criticism, which is that your troops in Gaza are essentially trigger happy. 32,000, almost 33,000 people have been killed in this conflict. I mean, your troops even killed 3 of your own hostages who had a white flag back in December.
Again, this is outlandish accusations against our army. This is outlandish based on Hamas figures, copying and pasting Hamas figures as if Hamas hadn't just plowed through our borders and butchered babies. They butchered babies, they butchered the truth. And
so what is the true death toll then?
The true death toll is, according to my Prime Minister, the ratio is less than 1 to 1. And an average war, it would be 1 to 9. I can tell you that we have taken off the battlefield, a liberal estimate, we've taken off the battlefield more than 25,000 Hamas and Islamic Jihad terrorists. That means killed, apprehended, or injured. So
isn't the wider point that some people are saying this is a watershed moment for Israel, in that it is now increasingly, after this incident, which has caused international horror and outrage, Israel is increasingly isolated and ostracised, and even people who were sympathetic to Israel after October the 7th are really questioning what Israel is doing in Gaza?
I would question those people's moral clarity. Will you stand with your ally, a free democratic country that is fighting for its very survival? We're fighting a war on multiple fronts. If it's Syria in the north, if it's Lebanon in the north, if it's the Houthis in the south, or even a drone came over, an Iranian drone came over all the way from Iraq and hit an Israeli target yesterday. So this is Iran and the Iranian proxy of terror that is fighting against us, that wants to destroy us. And they don't just want to destroy us. They say that we are the small Satan and the West is the great Satan. People need to wake up to understand that the same ideology that came after us on October 7th is the same ideology that came after London on the 7th of the 7th. Hamas became famous for suicide bombings on buses, and then you saw suicide bombings on a double-decker red bus in London. This is the Hamas that we're up against, and we need to destroy them.
Avi Hyman, Israeli government spokesperson, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for being with us.